It's been said that when women come together, incredible things happen. Hello and a warm welcome to the Catch-Up Corner. I am Trudy Zulu and today we introduce a phenomenal woman, a familiar face to our screens. What is a great conversation without a great meal? Today, Chef Masego Marite shows us how to cook a budget-friendly meal to help us during our COVID times.
Time is always ripe to do what's right, and nothing seems more right at this point than to celebrate the beauty, ambitions, and the strength of South African women. I am Triumph Mbiva, and welcome to our very first episode of the Catch-Up Corner. Our phenomenal guest today is a radio personality, TV presenter, content producer. The list is endless. Please help me welcome Mosa Kiaser.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for honoring our invite and welcome to the very, very first episode of the Catch-Up Corner.
It's only a pleasure, and I mean, first episode, first guest. I'm so happy.
2020 is definitely your year.
No, it is. In the midst of a pandemic, God still opens my doors because He is faithful.
Oh, wow. All right. Before we get into the core of all that, we are still in the hype of, we just celebrated the National Women's Day,
Yes.
and we just celebrated the Women's Month as well. What does that personally mean to you as a millennial and living in the modern South Africa today?
Living in South Africa in this day and age, and as a woman, Women's Month doesn't mean as much to me as I wish it could. Honestly, because I mean, we have gender-based violence, we have
So many.
femicide going on, and we also have, you know, those little wars and battles against women ourselves. So
Oh,
we
yeah,
have a
very true of
very
that.
long way to go, and I guess the only thing that this month and that day means to me is to introspect and find out from myself if I am a living proof of what I want to see men do and how I want men to treat us. Am I treating my sisters with the same respect? Am I supporting my sisters? Am I, you know, not malicious? Am I, you know, am I myself not abusing other women?
Very
so
true.
it's very important. So it honestly starts from me, and it starts with me. And you know, months of this sort really shine that very bright because it's all over, right?
That
and the
is
color
very
pink
true.
gets blasted on our faces and etc. But yeah, so that's what it means to me, and even as a millennial.
With so much powerful thoughts that you've just put into it, please tell us more about you and your upbringing.
So I grew up in the very modest town of Soweto. Not modest, I mean it's a huge
It is.
township.
It is. I mean,
it's a huge township, darling, a famous one.
And how was
so
it there?
I grew up in Soweto until the age of like 7. My parents used to have a club, so they call it a club, where they get kids off the street. They teach them how to sing, dance, and act, and I was part of that. And my parents really saw something special in me, so they introduced me. Well, not introduced me because I was very young, but they got me into Professional Kids, which was an agency that was owned by Dedri. And so I went to presenter lessons from age 4. Like, obviously it's like acting lessons. It's not much lessons, but it's how to, as a child, understand what a director is saying and to understand direction and so on and so forth. So I shot my first film at about 8. I shot my first commercial at about 5. So my upbringing was really in this industry.
I'm very proud of your parents. It's very rare for parents, as I don't know what I should say, in the black community, to train up a child in a way in which they wish to see her in the future. I mean, acting back then was something that was not really supported. Big ups to them, big up to the parents who are like that. And I follow you in most of your social media platforms. Speaking about Soweto, in one of your interactions, you spoke about how the community that you come from, it was a norm for alcohol to be sold around and substance abuse. How have you then managed to become the person that you are today, in spite of what people would think of someone with your background?
So I have a very solid background. So I didn't only just live in Soweto. I think I lived in Soweto until about 7, and we moved to Malbata in the southern suburb. So I think it's not much about my background, but rather who I was around, and, you know, being in varsity. Drinking is normal, you know, there's a norm in it. And, you know, nothing
It's
is
just
wrong.
alcohol.
And yeah, nothing is wrong with alcohol. It's just when it becomes the abuse of the substance is what the problem
becomes
is.
Addictive.
But if you're, and also it might not be addictive. You might not be drinking every single day or every weekend. But for the mere fact that when you drink, you don't have a place to stop. Like you don't know that this is where I stop, or these are where my limits are at. And you carry on with all of that. And because I wasn't, I wasn't raised in, my grandparents didn't drink. My parents did drink, but, didn't abuse alcohol. So you just look at this thing and you think, you know what, I can
also do
I
it.
can drink.
Yes.
So you don't know where to draw the line. So there were certain lessons that I had to learn, lessons in my career, lessons with relationships, lessons with friends, where I literally needed to say, Mosa, it's you or alcohol, because the both of you are not going to coexist.
Definitely. And when did you realize that I have to put a stop at it? Was it just your guts, or was it friends? Was it parents? Was it anything? Is there anything that influenced for you to look at yourself and say, this can't be me?
Yeah, no, absolutely. For me, and luckily for me, I didn't go through a life-changing experience where I was raped, or where, or alcohol got me in Dubai, where I was stranded and I couldn't come back home. I lost things that were very close to me, things that money cannot buy, things like,
time?
Time, actually, yes, time. I had to choose alcohol or my career, alcohol or myself, alcohol or moving forward.
Takalani Sesame, Kidio, Soul Butters, to international movies such as Hotel Rwanda.
Yes.
Musa, it can take a lifetime for someone to discover their purpose in life, let alone to pursue and achieve it. Please take us through your career journey and what it took for a young woman like you to get here.
So my career journey, as I did mention, started very young, at the age of 5, and I went on to shoot the international films through my primary school life and my high school life.
Wow.
And it got to a point where I had to choose in my first year of varsity if I'm going to go and study law, or I'm just going to carry on with this phenomenal other part of me, because it's really not a career now; it's become a part of me, because it's who I am, right?
Yes.
And I made that conscious decision, and I said, this is, when AKA says no plan B, this is all I know. That's exactly what this is for me. And I make that decision every single morning. I literally have to wake up and I make that decision. And it's not a decision that is easy, because this industry is the most competitive industry in the entire world.
That is
it's
very
very
true.
competitive. Sports is really competitive, but entertainment industry is very competitive, because people are constantly wanting to get in, and people are constantly changing themselves. So you need to change yourself too.
That is very true. Move with the trends.
Yeah, move with the trends. So I had to reinvent myself, stay relevant.
Stay relevant to the industry.
There was a time where I went to university and I wasn't able to, be acting or whatever, and then I found radio and I fell in love with radio, but so I'm still in this. So you become multitasked in this entertainment industry.
I think it is
and
very important,
you become an
actually.
artist. Yeah, you sort of become an artist.
Yes.
And you find things in you that you can shine a light on, and you feel like the world needs to know, and which is this most special part about this industry, is that you yourself need to look in the mirror and say, girl, you got it, you're in your bag.
And what would your advice be to a young person out there who want to take the same career path but is facing discouragement from maybe the parents or just the community?
I just want to say that anything that you want to do, if you wake up in the morning and you say, I want to be the best pilot in the entire world, or I want to be the best actress, or be the best musician, or any career that is not really appreciated, any career that is not taken seriously. If that's what you want to do, you can make a lot of money for it. In this generation, we see influencers getting money and getting paid for being themselves.
Speaking about influencers,
you know what I mean?
Who thought?
So I think that you can be whoever you want to be in the world, but just make sure you want to be the best in it, so that you make a killing in it.
And it's not just following trends, it's really what you want deep down.
Yes, it's what you want deep down. You need to read about it. You need to constantly train. People train. You see Usain Bolt training all the time. You see Kaiser Chiefs going
polishing
to the
up
grounds.
your talent.
Yeah, polish it up.
Yes.
Read books if you want to be on radio and television. Invest in yourself more than anything, and don't let anyone tell you that you can't. I think that if the doors aren't opening, open your own doors.
Create your own table.
Your own table.
We cannot shy away from the fact as well that the television industry is the hardest to penetrate, to sustain, and the most cruel environment to work in. What has been your coping mechanism against the adversities that come your way?
My coping mechanism is that I have a very solid foundation. And, I say that and I just smile.
And you just smile. I saw that.
I've got so much warmth.
Wow, we want to hear about this foundation.
I feel so much warmth in my heart and in my soul. I've got... Geesh, I'm getting so emotional. I've got a very supportive dad.
Do we need a tissue?
No, I've got a very, very supportive dad. My father is just... wow, I actually even think about it and I want to cry because my dad is so supportive. He's very supportive, and I've got very supportive friends. I've got very supportive brothers. I have friends around that have never given up on me. Before I even get to family, I think just being grounded in God and the Word and being able to run back to God, because He is your maker, your creator, the beginning, the end, your Alpha and Omega. He's the way maker, the promise keeper, the miracle worker,
sister.
the light in the darkness.
You were on the finalists of the biggest TV presenter stage competition. Please take us through that journey.
So that's actually such a very special story, and I don't think I've ever told anyone. No news publication, no interview. So there was some time that I had gone to corporate because I thought, oh my gosh, I've only got like 2 or 3 roles. I had 2 or 3 roles in 2018.
It's not really working.
It wasn't working.
Yes.
I wasn't making that much money. The car still needs to get paid, honey. The rent still needs to get paid, hunty.
And auditions now and again needs transport as well.
I mean, it's expensive. The bond and everything. There's just
that's very true.
So I decided, I have an honors degree from Wits University. I can definitely go into corporate and do anything that I want. So then I did, because all I have to do to God is ask and He gives it to me. So He said, okay, babes, do you want to do corporate? Go to corporate.
There you go.
So I went into corporate, but I mean, He still kept me within film and television. So it wasn't really... corporate. It was Dancing with the Stars. It was a production company.
Oh,
so I was a
so it was still in line with you.
Yeah, but I was a production assistant, and now I'm behind the scenes after being in front of the camera for my entire life. And I just woke up one morning and I said, Mosa, this is not for you. Nothing was wrong. I just said I'd rather struggle in the entertainment industry than to settle for something that is absolutely not for me. And then literally the next day when I woke up, my dad saw this ad. And this ad said, we're looking for a new presenter for an SABC 3 and whatever. And then my dad and my stepmom were like, hey, they sent that on WhatsApp, and they're like, hey, don't you want to audition for this just to keep it running while you're waiting? And then I'm like, oh, but I've been in the industry for so long. I'm going to be standing in a line. And then God said to me,
long queues.
And God said to me, babes, the talent that I have given you will sustain you. I will take you. You will not be the tail, but the head.
Preach,
and I
sister.
woke up in the morning and I went and I stood in that line. And that day when they got to me, they cut that line. And already people were coming to me like, oh, it's that girl from the EHO search. Oh, it's that girl from whatever. And I was already, look, if I didn't have God, I would have felt out of place, but I didn't, because I knew what I was doing there. The next day I woke up early in the morning I got there.
The queue again.
I was the first person there. And after I had auditioned, I got out of there and I said, guys, I've won this entire thing. 4 months later, after top 8 in Johannesburg, and this was a national search, right? Top 8 in Johannesburg, top 10 in the country, top 6. And finally finding myself in the Reunion Island, in another continent, in another country, and being told that I've won and that I'm joining SABC 3 as an Expresso full presenter. I was like, God, when He told me what He told me, it's I couldn't believe it. So I always say, and this is what I always say to young girls that I speak to, I say to them, if there's anything that you can bet on in this world, let it be yourself. Yes.
What critical life lessons have you learned in the industry and life in general that you can share with us today?
In life, I have learned that you must be unapologetic about every decision that you make. and make it from the heart, because you're going to have to live with everything and every decision.
Wow.
So whether it's a decision to consciously, be good to people, consciously be good to yourself, consciously wake up to say that you are worth your dream and you are valid. You need to be able to stand up for yourself.
Mosa, there is so much that we could speak about.
We'll be here all day.
But I believe that a woman is forever evolving. So what can we look forward to from you? Any projects that we can anticipate?
Check out my reality television show. You can check it out on Soweto TV on channel 251. I am going into the backside of radio. I want to make money. So I've gone into the behind the scenes of radio still. You'll still see me on your TV. You'll still see me you'll still hear me on your radio. I've taken television production very seriously now. I'm executive producing my own shows. So I'm writing a lot. I'm putting this degree.
Women taking up spaces. This is what you're talking about. Take spaces, baby.
So that's basically what I'm doing. I don't want to just be the entertainer. I want to be the entire package. And I think it's about time. I don't want to start doing that when I'm 35. I want to start doing it before I'm 30, so that by the time I get there, I'm comfortable. You know, it's time to build.
Least but not least, a lately Betty confirmed that you are a gym fanatic, a healthy phenomenon. How have you been keeping active and healthy during this pandemic? We know it has been tough for some of us.
Look, I'm not gonna lie, for me, I'm not a gym fanatic or a health fanatic. For me, it's a form of meditation because life does get hectic. So I release with yoga. I do a lot of yoga. I run, and I'm not gonna say, guys, I eat well. I'm on a seafood diet. Anything I see, I eat. So I was actually even just saying, oh my gosh, guys, now I eat. And where does it go to? It's because it's yoga. Yoga, yeah. Emune. All that fat, okay. all of that.
The skin speaks, and I think, don't worry about where the food goes. You look absolutely beautiful.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Every woman has a life-changing story to tell, and here at the Ketchup Corner, we spill all the beans. Thank you so much for sharing the depth of your life story with us, Mosa.
Oh, it's only a pleasure, and thank you so much for having me. First episode, baby.
Thank you. Speaking of healthy lifestyle, let's go back to Trudy, now joined by our chef, Masego. I think I smell something cooking already.
With COVID-19 being a reality in our lives, many of us find ourselves cash-strapped and looking for ways to save on daily meals. I'm joined by Masego Marite, a foodie at heart and a past contestant in a popular cooking show. She is going to show us how to make budget-friendly meals during the pandemic.
Hi.
Hi.
So for today, I'll be showing you how to do like a lovely grilled California chicken wrap.
Okay.
So that's what we have on the menu.
All right.
So I don't know, are you ready to get started?
Let's get started.
I'm hoping you'll be able to help me out with
Yes, I'm going to help you.
Okay.
I'll try my
fantastic.
best.
Okay, cool. Fantastic.
Okay, what do we start with?
Okay, so what we're going to start with is I've already added some salt and pepper to my chicken.
Okay.
So what a nice nifty trick about chicken is that I placed cling wrap over these chicken breasts.
Okay.
And what you do is then you just hit them down
Okay.
just to level it out so that it cooks evenly.
Okay, so it
So
flattens out.
Yes, it
Okay.
basically flattens it out.
All
Okay,
right.
so then what we're going to do now that we've salted and have put some pepper on the chicken breast,
Okay.
I'm just going to put the chicken breast in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to marinate, and then after marinating them, usually like a good 4 hours would be good, just so that all the flavors can really infuse into the chicken.
Okay.
And then what you then do is you pop it in the pan and just do a nice fry. Obviously, don't overcook it.
Yeah.
Chicken tends to cook pretty fast.
Okay.
So then we're just going to give it a nice little grill situation. Take it off the heat and then let it sit for a bit just for the juices to really release. Then we're going to cut it, and then that's where we're going to really get to set up our wrap.
Okay, that's wonderful. Let's get straight to it.
So we have our olive oil. I'm just
Okay.
going to let you add that.
All right.
So you can pop in the olive oil for me.
So add that here.
Yes, add that
Okay.
here. Just drizzle it over. This really just cuts the whole you having to add oil to the pan.
Okay.
Yeah, so that also helps. So now I'm adding my balsamic vinegar. This is usually a 1/3 cup.
So what does the balsamic vinegar help with?
Balsamic vinegar helps with like the acidity level,
Okay.
because this is a play between sort of like a sweet and
sour.
acidic.
Okay.
Yeah, so that basically balances out because we're going to be adding in our honey as well.
Okay.
And that also, it's sort of like a sweet, savory,
Okay.
happy kind of vibe. It's a nice way of infusing different kind of flavors into your meat.
And how long should it sit in order for the flavors to
Ideally 4 hours, which is something you could possibly do like in the morning, pop it in the fridge, go to work, come back, and then have it ready for you to just, fry.
Yeah.
Otherwise, even if you just sort of marinate it just for a little bit, it should be good.
And the entire meal, how long does it take to actually prepare the meal?
Prepare the meal. I think there's a lot of chopping and cutting up that's involved, but I think roughly it should take you like a good, let's say 15 minutes for prep and like another 10 minutes. So I guess together it's just like,
Okay,
it
so it's
shouldn't
a
be too long. Yeah.
quick meal.
Yeah, it's a very quick meal. This is something that you could do like during the week. Let me just add, let's just do nice.
Okay, we're doing garlic.
Yeah, we're doing garlic now. So this is something that you can definitely do during the week. This is for like people who are working, people who are not working, people who just want to try out something light and also tasty, because that's also another thing with when it comes to healthy meals.
Yeah.
Is that when I started making healthy meals, when I tried to introduce it to my family, it was a little tough because usually when it comes to healthy meals, it can be a little bit bland.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what you do is once you actually start acquainting yourself with actual properties of, spices and things, you're aware of the fact that they do add flavor and at the same time they're like 0 calories.
Okay.
So in that respect, at least you are making something healthy, but it's also tasty.
I like how you touch on your family. So it's both very healthy, but it's also budget friendly, which is good.
Which is good.
So are we done with the marinade or
Not
something
yet.
else that we're adding?
Yes, we're adding. Okay, so right here, this is an Italian mix.
Okay.
That you can get at any store. Otherwise, if you've got like just mixing like dried herbs at home that you have, and that's one of the things that sort of pertains to my cooking style, is that you always want to work with the stuff that you already have at the house, and you can just pretty much freestyle through that. So
I like
I'm adding some paprika, like a good 2 teaspoons of paprika,
Okay,
and
2
then yes, so then we'll have some pepper, and if you'd be so kind to just,
Am I doing the mixing?
you're doing the salt for me.
Okay.
The salt.
How much salt do you need?
I just need like a teaspoon. There
Just
you
a
go.
teaspoon of
Yes,
salt.
and then just pop it in there, and then we'll just add some honey to this. Go for it.
Okay.
Feel free. There we go.
Equally
And that's
distributing.
Yeah, that's more than enough.
Okay, so how much honey have we put here?
This is a 1/3 cup of honey that we've
Okay.
put in here, and it's a 1/3 cup of the balsamic vinegar as well. I think that's the only things that we didn't necessarily mention as far as quantity is concerned.
Okay, so
But as I always say, when it comes to these kind of meals, really it's all dependent on taste and what it is that you like.
Okay.
This is only like a guideline. It's
Okay.
not like per se, okay, if you don't, do it this way, it won't, because we all have different taste buds, we all have different things. Like I might like hot and spicy food, and you might like mild and whatnot. So yeah.
okay, so we're
right
popping
now-
it into the
Yes,
pan
into the
now.
pan.
Okay.
Right now we're ready
All
to
right.
go.
Okay, Masego, so now we fry the meat.
Yes.
Okay, I see that you've actually spray cooked the pan
Yes.
so as to avoid too much oil.
Yeah, too much oil, and the only reason why I did that is just so it's also because we've already added olive oil into our marinade mix, and also it just helps with obviously the chicken not sticking to the pan, because we've added honey to the marinade.
Yes.
So that sometimes makes the chicken a bit sticky.
Okay.
So I know a lot of people would like this to be like made in a grill pan.
Yeah.
But like that's like a no-go, because it's gonna definitely stick to the pan.
Okay.
Yeah. So honey makes it a little bit different when it comes to when you're cooking with it.
Okay, so can you actually grill this in the oven?
Yeah, you can. We can definitely put this just like have like a nice parchment paper sheet, put that on a pan, slap the chicken in. That'll be like roughly for like a good 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be good.
This is looking delicious. I am hungry already. So what are we doing now?
Okay, so for right now, we've grilled our chicken. Or fried it rather.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna do is just cut them into bite-sized pieces that we can add to the wrap, and then we can have the fun times of actually wrapping up this.
Okay, let's cut it up.
Fantastic. Will you just help me press that down?
Press that down.
Yes, thank you. I'm just gonna cut into
Oh.
it like that. Add just
The
a
mayo.
teaspoon of this to the mayo.
Oh, this to the mayo.
Yes, just
so
a
we
little
put
bit
in
of
the
that.
hot
Yeah,
sauce.
so we're just making like a little paste or like a nice little base for our ingredients to
So
sit
that's
on.
1 teaspoon.
Yes.
Do I mix it?
Yes, mix it
Alright,
in well,
okay.
please. Okay, let me do this. I'd actually like to add just a little bit of this.
This is absolutely.
Okay, let me just do a light squeeze there. There we go. That's a nice light squeeze. And you
Bit
can
of
add
zing.
a little bit of that. Just a touch.
Okay, just
Literally.
a touch or just.
There
is
we
that
go.
fine?
That's
Okay,
enough. Yeah, that's more than enough.
All right.
Okay, so what I'll have you do is for you to just spread it down the center of the wrap.
So like 1 teaspoon
Yes, and then
Down.
just spread it nicely with like the back of the spoon.
with the back. Okay.
Yes, yes, perfectly.
Goodness. I'm learning new cooking skills.
Yes.
I love the fact that you mentioned simplicity because this is a meal that you can actually do with your daughter, with your family.
Yes, very
Something really
interactive.
quick and easy,
Most
budget
definitely.
friendly, which is what we want. Okay,
Yes.
so what are we adding next?
Okay, so we've got our bed of lettuce. So what
Okay.
you're gonna do for me is you'll just put a little bit of sprinkles
Just
of the
sprinkle
tomato.
a bit of
yes,
tomato
no,
there.
we're getting too much juice in there.
Okay, is it?
Really
Oh,
feel free
there.
to actually
put
put
that
it in.
there.
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
just
Because then we don't want it to get.
hygiene conscious.
No, that's perfectly fine.
it fine?
Let's
Okay.
not overdo it because that's also another trick when it comes to wraps is that
Less is more.
Yeah, less is more. Because in the beginning, I also used to get like really like incredibly excited.
Yeah.
But then it just ends up being a flop because then you can't close it, and then that takes away from the whole point of actually,
What are we adding next?
Okay, so we're gonna add the bacon next.
Okay.
Just to do like a nice mashup of the chicken and bacon. Exactly.
Okay, a bit of avo in there.
Yes. a bit
This
of
is just plain avo. It's not salted.
not salted
nothing
at
put in-
all. Yes, no,
Okay,
it's not.
great.
We've got like a lot of flavor going here, so it would just, and there's a reason why I'm putting it on top of the bacon because
Yeah.
that'll also just really work so well.
This is looking great. And then
Okay, so we're done with that. So then we're just gonna drizzle this. I'm just hoping I'm not leaving anyone out.
I think
Oh,
there's
the
the
cheese.
cucumber cheese.
Oh, the
and
cucumber will
there's-
be on the side.
Okay.
And
These are mozzarella slices.
yeah, it would be better to actually get like grated mozzarella.
Grated. Okay.
Yeah, just so that it's easier to put on. But what we can do
Is that we? s-
is we're
Okay.
gonna just roll it up and then I'll just chop it up and
Oh.
then just hold it there.
Okay. Quick and
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, very quick. Then we just get to add a bit, and mozzarella, any kind of like white cheese is also quite better in terms of health as far as like you trying to have less dairy like in your diet.
Okay.
Like you could go for like cheddar, but then obviously it's extra calories.
Okay.
So mozzarella cheese is lower in calories.
In calories. Okay. So now we finally wrap it up.
Yes, we finally wrap it up. So what I'd like to do is just for a bit of support here, go like that.
Oh, that looks absolutely delicious.
Yeah, this is a
Smells absolutely
giant,
delicious.
giant
Yes.
wrap. So I'll just usually just turn it on. We've actually closed it. I'll usually turn it like that.
All right, so we're cutting it up. And if this is obviously too much for one person, then you can
Yes,
just
you
share
can
it.
definitely share it.
This
yeah.
is great for like something that you can have at work as well.
Yes, yes.
Um,
Definitely works really well with like leftovers. What I really like to do is, like instead of having like a boring salad every day, especially if you either like watching your weight, watching your
Yeah.
health, you could actually just put your salad in there. Add obviously your vegetables, your proteins and whatnot, and that can actually just be your meal on the go.
Okay.
And the
Beautiful.
salad is also just for aesthetic appeal and obviously just to fill up if it's not enough. At
Yeah.
least that's like empty calories that you can get away with.
Definitely
Yeah.
great for lunch, filling. I
Fantastic.
think that's great.
Yeah,
Okay, and then we add the cucumbers to the side. I am ready
fantastic.
for this meal to dig in. Okay, and then we add the croutons as well.
Yes, most definitely. The croutons, and then let me just put that there.
Lovely
Let's
for
just
a bit
move our
of
chicken.
crunch.
Yes, most definitely.
Absolutely amazing. Now, if you do want this recipe, please go to Instagram or just follow the description below. Thank you so much, Masego. This
you're
is
so
absolutely
welcome.
amazing. I'm sure
Thanks
so
for
many of
having
us have found something new that we can put in our lunch boxes. That was Masego Marite. Please follow her on Instagram. Now, they say sharing is caring, so I'm going to share this with my co-host. Triumph, would you like to try?
Definitely, definitely.
I'm sure you've been smelling this.
Couldn't
scent in
wait.
the
You guys took forever. This looks like a very healthy meal.
Yes.
Can
Do you
I?
want to dig in? Yes.
Please, please, please.
Okay.
It's a wrap, guys. It's a wrap. This is delicious. So I'm sure you'll learn a skill or two.
Definitely. I think this is going into my lunchbox, my husband's lunchbox, everyone's lunchbox.
And the baby as well.
Yes, I think you should try this recipe.
Actually, speaking of healthy food, as I was speaking to Musa, I've realized that it's not only the old or after a doctor's recommendation where people want to stick to healthy meals. And I believe that as women, and we are the pillars of our homes, these are things that we should be practicing in order to not just empower them by words, because a healthy mind lives in a healthy body.
Yeah, and I think also for ourselves as well, self-care, taking care of our bodies, ensuring that we are filled up and able to pour into others. This is a great recipe.
They say you cannot pour from an empty cup.
Or from an empty stomach. So let's try that again.
Thank you so much for catching the first episode of the Ketchup Corner. I go by the name of Triumph Mbiva.
And I go by Trudy Zulu.
See you again on the next episode.